News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Health experts have been calling for caution in the implementation of the voluntary use of face masks outdoors. Let's follow up on how this policy has affected the country's COVID-19 situation. Joining us over the phone is PHAPi President Dr. Jose Rene de Grano to discuss this some more. Doc Rene, good afternoon. It has been about 2 weeks since the government allowed the voluntary use of face masks outdoors. But what is this really like on the ground? Have you observed an uptick in COVID-19 admissions since then?
Well, admissions are not really going up. However, if you will note, all the cases, especially the total active cases, have increased. Previously from 20,000, now it's around 38,000. So we are seeing an increase really in the number of cases around 3 weeks after this pronouncement was made. Yes.
All right. So basically, you have observed an increase in cases, but the good news is no increase in hospital admissions. Dr. de Grano, what symptoms have you observed in the people that have been at least going to the hospital for COVID-19? And would these people be the ones who did not yet get their booster shots?
Well, most of the people who are coming to the hospital usually and are admitted because of the positive COVID are people who have comorbidities, and these are some who are seeking admission in the hospital and we call this incidental COVID. There are a few who have not been with complete vaccination before, and they usually go into the severe and critical cases. And these are only a few. But we have observed that people who do not have complete vaccination are usually having more severe symptoms.
All right. On the back of what you just said, Dr. de Grano, what would you recommend in terms of masking up or the mask mandate? Would you say that it is about time to require masks outdoors again? Or do you think that keeping this policy of voluntary use outside is okay?
Well, even before, when this pronouncement was made, we think it was a bit too early to be relaxing on this mask restriction. But I think they have their own parameters in making that decision. Right now, I think when the cases are going up, I think it's about time to rethink of that policy, or maybe just try to convince our people to consider that it is their responsibility to keep themselves protected also. And in the same way, they are going to protect those that may be exposed to them in case that they are, unknowingly infected due to non-wearing of the mask.
All right, sound advice. Thank you so much for your time and your insights. Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines Incorporated President, Dr. Jose Rene de Grano, over the phone. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Chuck.
And in politics, it seems like the faction war in PDP Laban is very much alive after the group led by former Senator Manny Pacquiao slammed the other wing for holding a National Assembly. Ron Monsayak of the Pacquiao faction denounced this assembly being held today, adding that their group is steadfast in fighting for the party's principles. Members of the PDP Laban faction, led by former Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi, gathered today to elect new party officers. Former President Rodrigo Duterte remains as the party chairman, while Representative Jose Alvarez has been named as PDP Laban president. And Grammy-winning rapper Coolio has passed away at the age of 59 after he was found unresponsive at a friend's home in Los Angeles. The rapper was taken to a local hospital after the incident. No official report has yet been released on the cause of death. Coolio was best known for his 1995 single Gangsta's Paradise, which was featured in the film Dangerous Minds. The track won a Grammy for Best Rap Solo. We're gonna pause for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here on One News.
Of North Korea as North Korea sees Kamala Harris' visit to South Korea as a provocative move. Obviously, they return that provocative move in kind. This comes, of course, as the USS Ronald Reagan, the aircraft carrier, which is already deployed in the Western Pacific, made a port of call in South Korea ahead of war games with the South Korean counterparts. Also ahead of what the South Korean spy agency says will likely be Kim Jong-un's seventh nuclear test, upcoming, perhaps a very specific date, sometime between October 16th to November 7th. So lots at stake, of course, for U.S. diplomatic efforts in the Western Pacific ahead of Joe Biden's visit to the Asia Pacific, where he'll go to the G20 meeting in Bali, then the APEC summit in Bangkok in November.
This is really interesting because we've also got the White House hosting this unprecedented two-day summit of Pacific Island nation leaders. Wang Yi did his big 10-day tour of the region earlier this year. Yes. So is this an attempt to try and woo them away from China's influence?
Absolutely, because there's a fear, of course, in Washington that many of these Pacific Island, even by Australia, are going to move more into China's orbit. We saw that, as you mentioned, Heidi, in May, when the foreign minister of China would rarely make visits to Pacific Islands. He went to the Solomon Islands and he signed an unprecedented security agreement with the Solomon Islands. So absolutely, the United States is trying to make up for lost ground and gained ground by the Chinese diplomatically in the Pacific Islands by hosting this summit, two-day summit, and offering support beyond just security, things that these South Pacific Island nations need, like help with climate change, technology, and healthcare. We'll have to see what comes of it. But again, 11 island nations, including Kiribati, Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu, and others, will be attending this White House summit. the United States knows the importance of the supply chains and the sea lanes through the South Pacific, as they, of course, encountered that against the Japanese in World War II. So, yes, again, these are smaller nations, but strategically very important.
Pole vault ace EJ Obiena has returned to his alma mater, the University of Santo Tomas, for a homecoming event. There, Obiena received the Pope John Paul II Award, which is given to alumni with outstanding achievements in sports and the arts. The world number 3 also attended an event in Chiang Kai-shek, his elementary and high school alma mater, yesterday. Obiena is set to resume training in Italy next week in preparation for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Congress has approved the 5.2 trillion peso budget for 2023 on the third and final reading. 289 lawmakers voted yes to the 2023 General Appropriations Bill, while 3 voted against it. The budget bill is set to be transmitted to Senate for deliberations. The death toll from Typhoon Karding has gone up to 11. 6 others are still missing, including 5 fishermen from Camarines Norte. Investment pledges from President Bongbong Marcos's working visit to the United States is pegged at around $3.9 billion, according to Malacanang. The palace says this could generate around 112,000 jobs for Filipinos. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.